Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. So first off, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. I really appreciate that. So yesterday I did a little video on update on Project Phoenix, door bushings and stuff like that. Talked about my 93 Cobra R. So before I get on my 93 Cobra R that I currently own, just give a little background on kind of me. I've been in the 93 Cobra community for a long time. Since about, I don't know, 98 to now, I think I've had 60 or 70 93 Cobras. This is my third 93 Cobra R. I've had 10 teal black cloth cars, painted one Mystic Chrome. It was in modified Mustangs. You can Google Mystic Chrome 93 Cobra and see what pops up. I built that car. I think that one was done in, I think 07, late 07, maybe 08. I did one I painted white. It was a teal black cloth car, and I think I parted one out. I owned 4993. It's a teal gray leather car. The significance of that car is it's the last 93 Cobra. I found that car up in West Virginia. That was a crazy trip going up to get that car. I actually had a bat fly in my truck on the way home at 2:30 in the morning. Zipped through the window and hit the back seat. Dead bat at the gas pump. That was kind of crazy. My 93 Cobra R's, first car was number 19. I was looking at one before 19 popped up. Actually, a friend of mine up in Idaho ended up with that car. I can't remember what number that car is. 19 popped up on eBay as a roller down in Albuquerque. So I contacted him through eBay. We agreed on a price, which first off, I'll be as transparent as I can. I'm probably the only person in the world that's bought two 93 Cobra R's for under $20,000 unless they bought them brand new. First car I paid $18,500 for that car as a roller. I did get the original trans, but not the block. That car significance number 19 is that car is Ford press car. Ford used that car for all their magazine articles, Motor Trend, Car and Driver, Muscle Mustang, Fast Forward. So when I got that car, it had a lot of miles on it. I think when I got it, it had 41 or 42,000 on it. I think it's got, and keep in mind that was back in, I think I got that car in I think 96 or 7. Nope, it was 98. So yeah, so it's been a while. Getting old, brain slipping. So anyway, I bought that car, put it back together, sold it before we moved to Utah. I didn't think I'd get lucky enough to find another one, but I was on eBay again late one night and found car number 62. Now, car number 19 was owned by Chris Kaufman. He bought that from Ford when they were done with the car and all that. He had to end with Ford, and they sold him the car. Number 62 pops up on eBay. Lo and behold, Chris Kaufman owns this car as well. Number 62 was a SCCA race car. Had 2,500 miles on it when I got it. It was still on the MSO. So technically I was the first original registered owner on that car. That car's number 62. I took the roll cage out, drove to California from Utah to pick it up. We found the original block. I paid $18,000 for that car with the original engine. I had regular SN95 rear end, so I had to source a 92. Most people don't realize the 93 Cobra R has a 92 Lincoln Mark 7 rear end in them. It's not a SN rear end. It's not a 93 Cobra rear end. That's why I'm going to show y'all a couple things that most people don't talk about. I've seen a video about how to identify a real 93 Cobra R. So I put 62 back together, sold that car. It ended up in the Yates collection for a short time, and then it ended up with number 19 up in Indiana. So they're back together again. So I was, we'll fast forward to last year. I was on Facebook like everybody else, and this thing popped up on one of the 93 Cobra forums. Cobra R clone, is it real? Is this a real car? Blah, 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 blah. Now, I remember reading about this car, or hearing about this car, probably 10 years ago. About one in California that was supposedly a 93 Cobra R, but it had fog lights and air conditioning and all kind of rear defrost and all this stuff done to it. And when this one popped up on the internet, I got a hold of the guy selling the car. We talked for a while. I asked for a couple pictures. He sent me what I asked for. I knew right away the car was legit, but people are still online talking shit. They don't know what they're talking about. I've owned 3 of these cars, and there's one thing that you can't clone on a 93 Cobra R as far as building a clone. Now, a lot of these parts are one-off parts. They only made 107 cars. So if you need a strut brace for one, good luck. There's a bracket that goes on behind the front bumper cover. If it's missing, good luck finding that, because there's no fog light support bar. So they made a special bracket just for the 93Rs. It's easy to source the wheels. It's easy to source the seats. It's easy to put crank windows in one. It's easy to put a spare in one. As far as the normal naked eye goes, I could build one and you could never tell it apart except for one thing. Now, I'm trying to get the car out outside. It's in the garage. We've got some rain. It looks like it's letting up. So I'm going to pull it out, show you guys the car. So me and him went back and forth on this car for 6 or 8 months. He had a couple people trying to get it out from under me, but I was kind of the person he wanted to sell it to. The story behind this car, and if you know anything about the lawsuit cars, so Ford originally was going to build 100 of these cars total. That was it. So you were going to have 193Rs. Well, this car was sold new at Courtesy Ford along with another car. However, Courtesy Ford sold 10 cars total, and they took deposits and down payments from customers. But what that did was trigger, they didn't have enough cars to sell, so it triggered a lawsuit, which have copy work of all the paperwork, because this car was actually part of the lawsuit. Now, this isn't a lawsuit car, but this car was shipped and delivered to Courtesy Ford, where all the lawsuit cars went to, and that's what triggered it. Was this car and its sister car was the only 2 that they got, but they had technically sold 10 cars. Now, they only actually delivered 9. One of the customers, and I have all their names on the lawsuit paperwork, one of the customers backed out, took a lump sum money from Ford instead of the car, which he's probably kicking himself in the ass now. But this car was sold to a dealer in California, a wholesale dealer. The guy was very wealthy. It was sent to another Ford dealership in California. They did power windows, power locks. They did fog lights. They put a rear defrost back glass in the car. He had leather flow fits done for the car. I have pictures of everything when it was done new. Now, I didn't know he had all this stuff until I got to California. Now, I made a round trip from Kentucky. It was 5,000 miles to get this car back in March. I drive out there. He shows me the book. I look at all the VIN stickers on the car. I check the buck tag on the car, the radio support. I check everything under the car, make sure everything's there. Everything's legit. It's not missing anything. The only thing is it still has all the stuff on it. Fog lights, power windows, air conditioning, power locks, power windows, rear defrost. The guy wanted a 93 Cobra R, but he wanted everything the street car had so he could drive the car on the street. And that's why when you see this car, picture in the thumbnail, it's sitting at his house in the driveway outside with bullet wheels on it. So who would ever thought that this was a legit Cobra R? But when I ask him for one picture, that's all I need, picture inside the car, and that's it. And I know you guys are thinking I'm nuts, but when you've had 2 of these cars, you know what to look for, you know what's real, and you know what's not. Seen a couple videos, seen one last week, some guy made one about how to spot a clone, okay, but there's one way, and I'm going to show you, and actually there's really 2, the VIN number and the other way, if there's no VIN number on the car. So, looks like the rain quit. I'm going to quit flapping. I'm going to back it out, show you guys the car, and show you the work that I did to the car. The car is back original, the way it's supposed to be. I'm kind of lucky. I hoard parts, so I had a lot of stuff to put this car back stock. A lot of people say, oh, just leave it the way it is. It's part of the car's history, but to me, that's not how it came. None of those parts were original. As far as paint on the car, it's original. Drivetrain's original. Nothing's ever been missing. Nothing's ever been touched. Still got the original brakes on it. I did repaint the wheels on the car. They had some nicks around the center caps. They look kind of ratty, so I cleaned them up a little bit. Put a rear defrost, non-rear defrost glass back in it. Yes, it had a rear defrost window in it I had to take out. That's freaking nuts, right? So some cars just get built the way customers want them. So without further ado, I'm going to pull this outside and show you all the car. All right, so she's outside. You can look up in the clouds. Still kind of dark out. I'll show you guys. Like I said, this is 93 Cobra R from 28. I bought the car back in March. I've cleaned the car up, buffed on the car, polished on the car. Now keep in mind, this is a 38,000 mile car. It's a driver. It's not perfect, but I didn't pay $170,000 for it either. I got a pretty good deal on the car. He worked for me on the car. He was out of the country for a while. I had to wait for him to get back. So once he got back, my son's birthday was in March. My granddaughter's birthday is in March. My wife flew out. I drove the truck out with the trailer, picked it up, towed it back. And so yeah, let me know what y'all think. I'm going to show you the one way you can tell a 93 Cobra R, whether it's real or not. Most people don't talk about this, but I'll show you what it is. All right, so this is my 93 Cobra R, number 19, or excuse me, number 28. So getting old. All right, now when I got the car, it had some ratty black LX seats in it, but everything else in the car was in really good shape. The original carpet was in good shape. The console, I had lucky enough that I had a really nice set of low mileage SSP Opal gray door panels for crank windows. I got them swapped out. Headliner in the car, all that stuff's in good shape. Now, here's one thing I'm going to say. Now, this is something you guys can do. I'll go over here, might see it better on this side. Ford, unlike Celine, because Celine rolled them, Ford on the 93 Cobra R's, they cut the quarter panels right here all the way around so the tires didn't rub. You can see that. So they've all been cut right through there. That's the driver's seat. Now, the interior of this car, I parted out a 93 SSP car probably 10 years ago. It was a low mileage car. I kept the seats, door panels, and a bunch of other Opal gray shit that you never know when you're going to use it. I had it. Now, the power window door panels and all this stuff, they're in my other garage. I took them out. I put the crank windows back in it. I put the manual mirrors back in it. I had to replace back window for no rear defrost, and I had an old V-belt AC system on it I had to take off. That's one thing I haven't swapped out, the heat selector. I'll show you that real quick. It still has the AC heat selector, so check that out. Still for AC. So yeah, and it's an aftermarket one too. So yeah, so that was part of the conversion. They did air conditioning. I said I put an on-rear defrost window back in it. You can see it's still raining a little bit out. Now, this is where it gets good. Now, the first thing I checked when I went out there, because of this car being whatever, was I checked all the VIN stickers to make sure everything matched the car. Everything was on it. Rear bumper, front bumper. Open the hood and show you that too. I asked for a picture of the door sticker. It was on the car. I asked for a picture of the VIN number. It was on the car. Everything's there that's supposed to be there. Now, the cool thing about 93 Cobra R's, they don't have any seam sealer. They don't have any sound deadener in the cars. They don't have any seam sealer on the doors. I'll show you that. They don't have any in the quarters, which I showed you on Project Phoenix, taking that off and cleaning it up. So that's a cool thing about 93 Cobra R's. Now I'm gonna show you the book. If you guys are still watching and you care, you can give a shit, that's fine. I'll show you the book I got with the car, which is kind of cool. I didn't know we had this till I got out there. So we'll check this out. It has all the original paperwork in it, the order sheet, window sticker, the tag that hung from the rearview mirror, and pictures from when all the stuff was converted when it was new, which is pretty cool. So let's check this out. This is just a quick breakdown on the book. This basically just release dates on the 93 Cobra R, when they came out, immediate release and all that stuff. What they were coming with, wheels and tires, suspension, intake, and all this other stuff. It's 93. Oh, that's for a Lightning, actually. That's kind of cool. They both must be in there. So this was a copy that he got of the original window sticker, which is there. And this was the Cobra R, just for the regular Cobra, what all the Cobra had. And this was for the R competition model. This paperwork here was April 7th of 1993. The General Marketing Ford Division sent that out. This was all the order sheet, sales consultant, and all that other stuff. And this was the Salesman's name was Bob, or Raymond, and this guy's name was Bob. Rob Smith and all that other cool stuff. This was his actual order sheet. This was signifying a 1 to 6 that they were going to get in as per their fact sheet. Let's see. Now, this was kind of cool. This was the original hanging off the rearview mirror. This was all the original inspection sheet when I got there, the VIN numbers on it. This was just the invoice in document for when they were doing the inspection sheet. What does that say? Trunk end key number 218-169-205. Another thing from Mr. Smith for facts, and this is all the assembly, wheels, tires, Cobra R, front springs, bushings, everything they came with. And just a lot of stuff in the Venom magazine. Now this is kind of cool. I found this over here. They were talking about my car was consecutive unit number with these other cars that were delivered. The first, mine was this first batch, which was 169-205 and 209, which went to Courtesy Ford, and then the second batch, the lawsuit cars, went with this set right here. So mine was in the first batch. Window sticker, I did order a Cobra R thing, tell you what number it is. So yeah, that's about it. I didn't know any of that was with the car when I got it. So these are some kind of cool pictures here. That's what it looked like when it was new. There's a bunch more pictures in here. There's an original registration in here somewhere too. This was with the fog lights in the front from back in '93. You can see it there with the front. And there's some more with the fog lights in '93 with the antenna on it for a radio. So it did have a radio in it as well. If you see, this is the interior that was originally in it. Opal gray flow fits with an old Hurst shifter and a looked like it had a 92 radio in it or something. So yeah. So that's that one. Another side view. Oh, and here's a better one of the interior that shows the old Hurst shifter. And it was, the Hurst was still in it. I have that. And it looks like it had a 92 radio put in it. So at least they put a Ford radio in the car back in the day. And you can see they even put the power mirrors for the power mirror switch. So yeah, that's a lot of cool story with that. I do have the original, that's the original license plate. I actually know where that's at actually. So yeah, that's kind of, you know, this being my third 93R, it's just one of those things. Yeah, here it is right here. It's the original license plate that was on it when it was new. Kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know what you guys think, but I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, now, he's like, he's holding us up. Tell us this one thing. All right, I'm going to show you guys this. Now, those of you who don't know, 93 Cobra R's are built on convertible chassis. Now, what does that mean? If you ever owned a convertible has a bunch of stiffening braces underneath and an X brace in the front. And it also has fatter rockers on the inside of the car. So convertibles take different carpet. That's the one picture I asked him for on the inside of the car. I wanted to see where the rockers were. And if you've ever owned a convertible, the kick panels are cut straight across and then they roll down because there's more rocker in there in a convertible than there is a hatch. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the one thing you can't clone. Well, I guess you could. You could cut a car out and put a convertible floor in it, but that'd be a pain in the ass. So now, see right through here how fat these rockers are? That's the one picture I asked for. Now, back here in the back, as you'll see, right here, the convertible carpet from the factory, it is cut. All 93 Cobra R's are like that. So, that's the one thing. That's the one thing other than the VIN number you can't fake to build a 93 Cobra R clone. If you did, it would take forever. I don't know that I'd want to try it, but it would take forever to do. Now I'll show you underneath the carpet real quick. The fifth tire. So, all right. So this is what I mean. It's just solid metal. There's no sound deadener. There's a fifth original tire. This is like brand new. Still got the paint markings on it. So glad that was there. Car's in really nice shape. I mean, it is a driver car. I'm gonna open the hood real quick and show you all under the hood. All right, I got the hood open, but first I'm gonna show you a couple other small things on these R's that they put on show. Through here, there's no seam sealer. and the door jambs. And over here on the door, down through here, there's no seam sealer, and there's none down the bottom. It's just bare metal, no seam sealer at all. The PBR front brakes, like I said, I repainted the wheels. They had some nicks around the center caps that kind of look really bad, so I cleaned them up. I had a brand new set of Goodyear Gator backs. I had one set left I put on it. They look amazing. Now, under the hood, front VIN sticker, fender VIN sticker, other fender, hood. Now, as people point out, they come with a big 3-core radiator. They took 2 radiator brackets and cut them in half and lengthened them and welded them together. Yep, that is 93 Cobra R specific. They did a degas bottle. They did strut tire brace, which a strut tire brace is probably one of the cheapest damn braces I've ever seen. It's just super chintzy. Original cables are still on the car. This is the original coil cover. It's got some weird, I think this maybe California or something, or 93 Cobra R specific. Now, I also watched a video one day on some guy that's doing a 93 Cobra R video. 93 Cobra R's came with smog pumps. They had to pass emissions. Now, there was only, I think, 4 or 5 cars that were actually sold in the state of California, delivered and sold there. The other ones made it through there to California from other dealerships. This being one of them that made it to California. It was registered there once it was new, but it wasn't sold there new. But it did make it there. So that's really it. I'll shut the doors, walk around it one more time. Again, this car is not flawless. It's got 38,000 miles on it. The car has sat outside most of its life. It's been driven most of its life. I took the tint off the windows, replaced the back window, done nothing with really paint yet. Might do some on some side skirts, maybe. I doubt it. I'm probably just going to leave it the way it is. It's only original once, so I'll just let that eat. Again, let me know what you think of the car. It's good to have another 93R. I'm lucky enough to have another 93R, and this car being another driver, it's my 3rd driver. 19, I think now has got 44,000 miles on it. This one's got 38, and 62 I think is still under 3,000 miles. That car doesn't get driven, but it was the one that was raced. Go figure. So let's check it out one more time. So, as promised, finally, this is my 93 Cobra R. If you're ever looking for one of these, you need any info, and you're not sure what the car is, look at the rockers. If they're not big, fat, this wide on the inside, it's not a real car. Most of all the 93Rs, first 3 of the VIN, the first 3 of the last 6 is 169 on all of them. I think for the last 7, I think they start with a 2. That was the second batch of R's that was built. Sorry about that. Again, thanks for watching these videos. Thanks for subscribing. I've had this car since March. No plans to sell it, so don't be asking if you want to get rid of this one too, because I'm not going to get rid of it. I appreciate everybody watching, everybody subscribing. I hope everybody having a good Sunday. I'll try to get this video downloaded so you got something to watch this evening if you're bored. Again, if you got any questions or comments, you can hit me up below or foxjunk73@gmail.com. I appreciate you watching, and thanks again.